Thomas. Here. Barry.
Here.
Hughes.
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Schwartz.
Here.
Strain. Here. And Lee.
Here. Just one quick announcement, comment before we get started, because we have some really important awards we're giving out tonight, and I don't want to put a dark cloud over the meeting that we're about to have, but I just want to remind people that this is a public meeting. This is a government building, and there's a certain decorum that is expected. That means no yelling between residents, no yelling at council members. There's a period for public comment. You can come up to the microphone if you'd like, but you're expected to be professional. That means there's no cursing, there's no profanity, there's no yelling from the audience at council members, and there's certainly no jumping out of your seat to approach council if it's not a public comment section. So that being said, let's start our meeting. Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the July 15th regular minutes?
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Thomas.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Strain.
Yes.
And Hughes.
Yes.
Motion to approve the July 15th, 2021 regular minutes.
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Thomas.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Strain.
Yes.
And Hughes.
Yes.
Okay, up to our awards. I'm going to ask Chief Bartman to approach the dais. Chief, you want me to?
Alright, so this is for our Civilian Service Award. The Borough Hybrid received a request for assistance from a resident in need. The current circumstances presented them with challenges that require the aid of another to accomplish a task which would preserve their quality of life. The Borough turned to our resident population for support. One resident, Liam McCarthy, enthusiastically rose to the challenge with moments' notice to help. Liam McCarthy has demonstrated his dedication to his community, his commitment to his oath as an honorary Highbridge police officer, and carried out a key part of the Cub Scout oath to help other people at all times. Liam McCarthy, as a police officer, as a police department, we thank you for your service. Mayor Lee and members of council, the Highbridge Police Department presents the Department Civilian Service Award to Liam McCarthy for his services which he deemed beneficial to the department and municipality.
Great job, Liam.
We have a life-saving award for Police Officer Stephen Stein. Highbridge Patrol was requested to assist Lebanon Township Police Department for a reported cardiac arrest. Officer Stein was the second unit on the scene following a Lebanon Township police officer who had just deployed Narcan. Officer Stein began chest compressions on an unresponsive victim. The victim started breathing and regained consciousness. This victim is alive today and was able to return to their loved ones due to Officer Stein's actions. Mayor Lee and members of council, the Highbridge Police Department presents the Department of Life-Saving Award to Officer Stephen Stein for his prompt and alert actions that resulted in saving a life.
New jacket.
Okay.
problem. It's an honor.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just to add, Officer Stein, new hire by Highbridge Police Department, and so proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Public comments. It is the policy of the Borough Council that all public comments on an issue shall be limited to 5 minutes per person, and no person may make more than one comment per subject. Comments may be made on any subject pertaining to borough issues. Comments pertaining to public hearings should be saved for that section of the agenda. No debating between residents. Comments should be addressed to mayor and council at the public microphone. Just a reminder for anyone that's here celebrating the awards, you don't need to feel obligated to sit through the meeting. It's very exciting sometimes, but on to public comments. Any public comment?
First off, hi everybody, I'm smiling under this. Okay, members of
Can you
council.
state your name, Sally?
Oh, I'm sorry, Sally from Solitude Village, Sally Ward from Solitude Village. Members of council, I kindly request you consider a reading. Pulling from the consent agenda, the resolution 209 about the Tiny Home Festival to discuss valid concerns about each and every tiny home and its tow vehicle as to their height, width, turning radius, and the weight of each tiny home on its wheeled base to determine if the brakes on the tow vehicle could withstand the push of the towed tiny house going down the steep incline of Route 513 in order to enter Highbridge. Alternative town entry issues. Entering town by Dewey Ave or Railroad Ave have very serious height restrictions, like me. Have the tiny home people been apprised of these issues or a safe entrance and egress to or from our town commons? And if so, what is it? Addendum, both Main Street and Highland may not be wide enough for entry with cars parked on both sides of the street. Basic logistics are paramount of importance on the roads to and into Commons Park. Also, have the Highbridge folks been made aware, have the tiny home folks been made aware of our anti-idling ordinance, and does it pertain to generators that they may well be having? Remember, tiny homes are not legal in New Jersey, so laws affecting them on our roads don't exist. With the average tiny home weighing in at about 10,000 pounds, that's 5 tons. Keep in mind that Route 513 is a 6-ton limit just for single vehicle trucks. That's for the safety of all people. Please don't allow the tiny homes to roll down the steep Route 513 incline. A friend of mine I grew up with was in a dump truck coming down Route 513. His brakes failed. He crashed, and his load crashed right into his body and broke almost every bone in his body. And I'm terrified about that coming to pass, because a tow vehicle for a tiny home isn't going to be very big. And for 5,000 or 10,000 pounds, that's 5 tons, pushing against a tow vehicle coming down that road, oh my God, it's scary. I had a nightmare about it last night, so that's why I'm saying it. And my leg's shaking, just saying. All right, on a lighter note, a different subject, I want to warmly thank our Highbridge History Group and Natalie, who is the connection to that here, who offered a flawless brunch tour experience at the Solitude House, serenaded with the incredible guitar work of Arturo, and truly I could feel and did feel the love. I did feel the love of all the people for our Grand Dame Solitude House, and for and among those who lovingly worked so hard to bring her back to us as a precious venue for joining us in community. What an incredibly lovely day it was. And I just thank you so very much. So much.
Mark Desire, 21 Woodland Terrace. Good evening. the last council meeting, that was pretty horrible. Didn't really feel like our elected officials were representing us. Felt like we had some pawns up there and some people that got bulldozed. Since that last council meeting, a total of 240 of our towns in New Jersey have passed their meetings. One like Highbridge used to have about cannabis. So 240 towns. Towns like Lebanon Borough, Lebanon Township, Glen Gardner, Hampton, Town Clinton, the passing theirs. Lambertville, which I was really surprised. Lambertville I thought was going to be the capital of cannabis in Hunterdon, but they're going to have shops. But like the other towns that passed this, they wanted to control it. They wanted to have some say. They wanted to have town meetings like we used to have about big issues. I I know that this was an agenda by the mayor to pass. I mean, you had supporters, you told them you want to get rid of the cannabis law, and you did. I actually, as a former politician, it's hard. It's really hard to keep up with this campaign promises.
Don't make stuff up, Mark, please. Thank you.
Well, we have shops on Main Street that plan on selling. You don't have to have an empty building to move in a new cannabis shop. We have folks that, and they've said it in council meetings, they plan on selling it. So we have 240. My favorite one was Newark. Newark passed. Newark, they were concerned about how close it was to the schools where they're going to be selling these things, and the odor. We have an odor regulation. I think the front page of today's newspaper. Right, now to visit Walmart, there are some issues there with odor and that marijuana shop. So here we are. Highbridge is wide open. We have no say for 5 years. This could get pretty horrible. Are you going to have families coming to your movies? You have the stuff in your parks. We have no regulations. What's Main Street going to do? Working in the city, working in Manhattan, every block. It's smelling skunk, it's smelling whatever. It's New York City. You don't bring your kids to parks anymore in New York City. It's a pretty terrible place. Most of them. But really the biggest disappointment for me is what Hughes. All those years that we worked together, and I see you now kind of hunkered down. I don't know if you're still having fun being on council, but we did some pretty incredible things. We had townwides for should we breach or should we fix the dam? What should we do at Contanza 100 West Main, barking dog ordinances. We had a townwide meeting for that, and we made decisions as a town, not decisions based on one person's agenda and steamrolls our council members. That was pretty horrible. And I'm disappointed because you're council president, right? Are you council president? You're supposed to educate the other council members, not keep stuff from them, make sure they have everything they need to make decisions. So what happened? Why didn't we have a discussion on this? Why was this? I mean, that last council meeting, to me, that felt like a lot like 2006. Feel like 2006 for you? Yeah, right? Fully, right? Before you vote, you have to look. I saw that with some other council members as well. You don't get to look, but they don't vote the way that you're supposed to. You know how much I love bullies. So yeah, we're going to keep coming back to these meetings, and we need a stronger presence there. I hate to say it, but I'd love to see you back walking through the neighborhoods. I know you're not walking through the neighborhoods because we're kind of embarrassed about what's going on. It really breaks my heart. So I think that you should resign from council. You've got people ready to step up, people that are going to fight this, people that are going to make a difference.
When you come back, Mark, bring that bunny suit, because the borough's still looking for it. Thanks.
No, I haven't got an email. You want?
Next public comment, anyone?
Hey guys, Steve Silvestri, Woodland Terrace. Just here to apologize on my behavior at the last meeting. There's no room for that in a public forum. I sincerely apologize. That's not who I am, but that woman it was. I don't know what I've done. If you want to accept, that's fine. If not, I really have to understand that too. Thanks, Steve.
76 Main Street. Can you pass these along?
I wanted to say thank you for the incredible job that Stephen Strange did, making a fabulous map of Highbridge that's annotated with all the streets and the major places. It's been a huge work in progress, and he did a great job, and it does come in color. So it can be used for anything, you know, to give to the people who come to Solitude House who want to know how to get around town. It was for the townwide yard sale to actually have the names of the streets. It would be wonderful. So I just wanted to commend him for doing that. It was a really wonderful job, and it's certainly not ever been done before to this extent. So thank you, Stephen. Do you want me to respond to any of the previous stuff? That's up to you. Or later? That's certainly up to you, Christine.
Okay. So I have very limited number of commitments on the tiny homes right now. I'm working toward more, but I thank Sally for bringing up the issue of the weight and the size and things like that. The one vehicle that I know is coming and will be parked at the Commons is the size of a Greyhound bus, which have come into town frequently with kids who need to run the trail from other school districts and things. And they're very aware of the height restrictions and all the things that are necessary to approach the town in order for their bus not to get ruined. You know, so everyone is self-serving in that way and will protect themselves first, and in so doing will protect our interests. You know, so all that stuff, a lot of it has been taken into consideration. So, you know, we're moving forward, and I think it's very exciting, and everyone I've talked to is very eager to participate and to see it, and is really excited about it. So, thank you. If you have questions, address them to me. Thanks.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments from the public? Before we move on? Okay. On to public hearings. Ordinance 2021-036, Gulf redevelopment plan. Motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Roll call.
Lawrence.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Moore.
Yeah.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Strange.
Yes.
And Hughes.
Yes.
So I hate to do this at such the last minute, but I want to table this until the September meeting. It's not quite ready.
Okay, I'll make a motion to table.
Did you just go through second?
I know, I did. Well, I always forget the orders, I'm sorry. But I-
You know, what you can do at this point, since you've opened the public hearing, is to continue the public hearing to the next meeting.
Okay,
Since you've already opened it, certainly it would
That's
be
fine.
inappropriate to close it, I would think, at this point.
okay,
So that's what I would suggest.
okay. So I'll
Open.
motion to close the public hearing.
No, motion to continue the public
Oh.
hearing to the next meeting.
Oh, I see. Motion to continue the public hearing to the September meeting.
Move.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Lawrence.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Strange.
Yes.
And Hughes.
Yes.
Okay, Ordinance 2021-037, amend Chapter 303 sewers. Motion to open the public hearing.
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Lawrence.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Strange.
Yes.
And Hughes.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone want to make a comment on the sewers?
I believe that this was
This is a change in
ordinance for the approval of variances in sewers, I believe. It grew out of the,
We're just streamlining the language.
it grew out of the discussion at the Board of Health that they were
Right.
somewhat an unnecessary step in the process.
Right. So if you look at the supporting docs, it's just eliminating some of the middlemen. public hearing, or public comments on the public hearing? Okay. Motion to close the public hearing for ordinance 2021-037.
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Columbus.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Strange.
Yes.
And Hughes.
Yes.
Motion to adopt ordinance 2021-037.
Move.
Second?
Roll call.
Columbus.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Strange.
Yes.
And Hughes.
Yes.
Ordinance 2021-038, amend Chapter 190, Article 1, licensing of retail food establishments. Motion to open the public hearing.
Move. Second?
Roll call.
Columbus.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Strange.
Yes.
And Hughes.
Yes.
Okay, again, the same thing.
Same thing.
Just literally removing a middleman and some of this process, make it easier for people that might want to come and sell whatever in the borough, in the commons or what have you.
Well, yeah, and redundant stuff. I think that's
A
important.
redundant stuff,
We're not
yes.
trying to make things unhealthy.
Correct. Yes, exactly. Motion to close the public hearing for ordinance 2021-038.
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Columbus.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Strange.
Yes.
And Hughes.
Yes.
Motion to adopt ordinance 2021-038.
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Columbus.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Strange.
Yes.
And Hughes.
Yes.
Ordinance 2021-039, amend ordinance 2021-018, road improvements. Motion to open the public hearing.
Move.
Second?
Roll call.
Columbus.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Strange.
Yes.
And Hughes.
Yes.
Okay, so, I forget the exact thing we're changing in this, but it's just for.
We're just adding some additional street repaving with Town and Prospect that were included in the original ordinance.
Okay,
And then,
That's right.
okay, thank you. Public comments on the public hearing? Motion to close public hearing for ordinance 2021-039.
Move. Second?
Roll call.
Columbus.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Strange.
Yes.
And Hughes.
Yes.
Motion to adopt ordinance 2021-039.
Move.
Second?
Roll call.
Columbus.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Strange.
Yes.
And Hughes.
Yes.
Okay, on to discussion items. I'm not quite sure how to kick this off, and Alan, I know you were at that meeting. Do you want to speak a few words? We have our borough engineer here to
Well,
assist.
we did briefly speak at the engineering meeting on August 5th about the potential of changing the directions of traffic on Prospect and on Taylor Street, Lower Taylor Street, to one way rather than two-way.
Just so we speak clearly, going past the middle school's on your right, around Prospect Taylor, one way up or one way other?
Well, that has yet to be decided.
Okay.
So the discussion points are interesting.
I believe that is the purpose of the discussion tonight,
Okay.
is sort of just laying out what the options are, kind of giving a little bit of background on the scenario and how we came to kind of meet here and have this type of discussion.
Okay.
So I have a little matter here, it's a little hard to,
Perfect.
but, what is it here?
Do you want to hold it
Not
up?
the clearest thing in the world, but just to get an idea, if you were looking at this,
It's the same.
by the way, for those who don't know me, my name is Patrick Brennan. I'm one of the borough engineers. I work with colleagues engineering and design. Just to get an idea of a little bit of background here, we've been approached by several residents about pedestrian safety issues approaching the middle school, either on Columbia Trail or on Taylor Street itself. So it started a discussion on if we look to resurface Taylor Street and Prospect Street as part of the cooperative paving this year, what options do we have for Taylor to sort of improve pedestrian safety? So if you're looking at this map, on the left-hand side here is Church Street, Thomas Street, is to the top, and Taylor Street is more towards the middle with Prospect over on the right before you get down to the Huskies field area on the right-hand side of the sheet here. The discussions came up of saying, okay, we have a couple different options out on Taylor Street once we repave it. Do we take Taylor Street and make it a one-way where you come from Church Street heading south towards Prospect Street to prevent people from coming up the hill and maybe having lack of sight distance at the Columbia Trail? Or do you take Taylor Street heading north and make that the one-way direction so that you have circulation from the school working its way through? And then there's a third option, which is to do absolutely nothing and leave it the way it is, but try to maybe do some signage and striping on Taylor to maybe catch people's eyes as they're approaching the Columbia Trail and also sort of delineate somewhat of a walking path. Looking through each option, each one obviously has its pros and cons, but looking at option one, which I had outlined as from north to south on Taylor Street as a one-way direction, when you're approaching the Columbia Trail on Taylor Street from the upper end, it's much more open and the Columbia Trail is at the same level as Taylor Street in that location. So you have a wider sight distance to seeing bicyclists and pedestrians as they're approaching. Whereas if you're looking the other direction, very limited sight distance because you're on such a steep incline and the way that the trees have grown there, that you cannot see somebody approaching from more than 25 feet in either direction. With that, one of the pros obviously is the sight distance at the Columbia Trail, but another one is also being able to provide a designated pedestrian lane on the left-hand side of Taylor Street so that you have traffic to the right, but you can keep it designated as pedestrian travel on the left-hand side. One of the other issues on Taylor Street, and one of the reasons we have to resurface it is because as you're approaching Church Street, the pavement, because it's so steep up there, tires tend to slip as you get up that hill, and that deteriorates the road a lot quicker. That's something we're looking at. If we go one way the other direction, we would avoid that situation at that location. That's the steepest part of Taylor Street itself. The cons with that one, I think the biggest con, and this was something we had discussed in our engineering meeting, is the circulation from the school. Right now, students are dropped off on Thomas Street, and parents wrap around Academy and back out Taylor. What this would do is we would take traffic down Academy still, but we'd have to push it back up Prospect and send it back out to Thomas. Obviously, that would affect people who live on Prospect. So that was one of the cons that we're weighing with this option. When you're looking at taking the one-way traffic the other direction, the main pro of it is creating that circular element for the school traffic. It would just be in Thomas, down Academy, out Taylor, keep the circulation going. One of the cons with that, though, is that you're sending traffic up the steepest part of the road. It's going to deteriorate the road faster, and there's that limited sight distance at the Columbia Trail.
I mean, I'm just thinking another pro of having people coming up Taylor is that there's very little momentum. They're going up the steepest hill in town, I think. There's less likelihood of hitting someone going fast. Coming down, I would imagine, is a little more likely, especially if it's icy.
Absolutely.
But I mean, that's one thing that I was thinking as you were saying. I always feel like I can't hit anybody. I'll stop. I'll take my foot off the gas. I'll go backwards.
It is one of those things, though, as a bike is approaching, you don't know if they notice to stop, too.
Stop at the Columbia Trail right there too for the bicyclists?
There is, but that was a discussion we were all also talking about. Those signs are small, and people are coming into town for the first time and leaving from the commons. They may not know those signs are even there. We're not paying attention to them. So it's something, obviously, while we've been having this conversation, that we would weigh is maybe we need to increase the size of those stop signs as well. And that goes into option 3, which is to not do anything with Taylor as far as direction is concerned, but maybe add some additional striping or signage to make it very apparent as you're approaching the Columbia Trail that there are people that may be coming through here that aren't stopping. And you almost provide a yield scenario that without fully enforcing yield, but at least let people know that there are people that are going to be passing their driveway. So, for the most part, those are the options we've been discussing. We are moving forward with the resurfacing of Taylor Street and Prospect Street, but this was something we kind of just wanted to open up to the public and to the council to discuss a little bit more.
Did we send those letters? We did. So I'm just curious, do we have any members in the, okay.
You know
Would
who
you
I
like to
am.
offer up your thoughts?
I do want to offer.
Okay.
So I can bring my baby home, because I'm sure you don't want.
Please, we're fine with
Is that
babies.
okay?
We're very baby friendly, but please.
Is that okay?
That's fine.
You go, I just want to get him.
No, that's all right. I felt better to go first,
Oh,
but
go ahead.
no, like, that's all right.
Back, go ahead. You
I'm
my
gonna
hands,
have to
right?
sit down because I don't feel well, so I'm gonna sit down when I talk. Is that okay? All right. I'm Isabel Basile from 36 Taylor Street. I've been here since 1993. Putting it one way is not making any sense whatsoever. None whatsoever. What's gonna happen when you do that is you're gonna cause the traffic, and really hear me out on this. People, if they're coming down, going towards Academy, they're gonna go faster. Knowing that nobody else is on the other side, psychologically, people are gonna actually travel quicker because they're gonna think, all right, we're going down a one way, nobody's on the other side. I've seen this with other one ways. I think that that's a wrong option. The second thing is, the way the road is, on the steeper side going towards the trail, that actually is the only way out when there's snow. I'm gonna let you know because I've been here, you cannot get out. If it's a one-way and you have to go the longer distance, nobody gets out. We've had trucks stuck down on the bottom of Taylor, and the only way they could get out, like trucks with, like, we've had a garbage truck just recent that was stuck, and I know that they were here for that. The truck was not able to get out. The biggest thing that needs to be done, widen the road right where the curbing is. Put a walkway so that the kids can walk up on that side, not a sidewalk the whole way. That would actually go into budget, which I don't think would be a good idea. There was another thing. So also the school should probably put out a notice saying that Taylor Street shouldn't be a way out for them, dropping the kids off and then coming around. I would think that that should be a notice that you let the kids know, or that you let the parents know, because they're coming down. That was the other issue. If they know that they're gonna be a one-way, there's gonna be more traffic coming this way, where they're gonna come down, circle around, they're gonna be going faster because they wanna get their kids to school and get out of there. I really believe that that's a wrong thing to do. I don't think it's needed. I had my two boys that I raised here, and we walked up that hill with absolutely not one single problem. There are a lot of kids on our street, and there does need to be a small walkway on the one side. We never had a problem. I've been here for, 28 years, if I could think, with my chemo brain. I've been here for 28 years. There has never been an issue up on the trail. You have total view. I've never seen where, as you're coming up, we all use caution. There's no problem to come up to the top of where the trail is. Everybody looks, I have never seen a problem where anybody had any kind of collision or anything happen. The other thing, when you pave the road, you're gonna have a serious issue. I know everything, nobody wants to hear me say this, but I know what's under this street, totally. I have pictures, I have videos. I have pictures right now to show what was across the street when I first moved in was something that kids could have fallen into. Are you aware of what was there? It was just
No.
it was a wooden thing that kids would move this wood, and it was so deep that if God forbid they ever fell in, serious injury. So, and that would actually, with flooding, that would lift up and wind up on my property. So, and I have pictures of it on my property. And I would lose everything. Also, to cut the water, we spoke about this. On Academy, you need to put another catch basin to stop some of the water coming down where we are. That needs to cut and then just bring it back the other way. I have all the schools and all of High Bridge. The whole half of High Bridge comes into the one drain, and you do know that.
Yes.
I watched when they did the school, I filmed all that, it's going in the one drain. I don't know, Bonnie, did it ever go through any of those videos? That one video is like scary. I don't think I've ever shown you, but it's pretty bad. I'm right at the bottom. I get everybody's everything. So I do believe that making it a one-way is wrong. I don't want it because what you're gonna do is make me have to get into the school traffic in the morning and in the afternoon. I don't think that's right. That's what's gonna happen because you're gonna make me have to drive around the corner and get stuck in the traffic for school. Why should I have to do that after 28 years?
And this is why it's an open discussion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not-
That's the
I
exact
don't
reason
think
why.
that's right,
Start
really.
this project.
I don't wanna go in the school traffic.
When is this, when are we slated to start?
We have not locked in a paving date
Okay.
yet, that's something we're still working on.
Okay.
Pave the
So there's still
street,
time.
pave the street. Watch how you pave it, crown it going away from my house and all of our houses, because we're all
No,
flood.
and that's something we've discussed, is making sure that we can level out that road so you're not getting the majority of the water coming down
Which
to
I
your
do.
side. So,
I don't mean to sound like a pain in the butt here, but I've lived here long enough, I love this town. And to make me have to drive and be caught in school traffic is really unfair at my age, I'll say. I really don't think that would be the option, because what I think is gonna happen is they are gonna go faster. Am I being ridiculous saying that people going on a one-way? You're not gonna think somebody's not coming from the other way anymore, and they're gonna go faster, especially coming over the hill that way. If you're gonna do it, make it the other way, but don't do it. Really, I mean, I don't wanna get caught in school traffic. And if I'm in a rush to get to the hospital or whatever, I'm not gonna go around and get stuck in school traffic. It's just, it's pettiness. It really isn't good. Catch basin on Academy, I put that. Paving the road, crown sidewalk. I think like you don't have to put a whole sidewalk. I know that the people on my street, you know, they're concerned.
right.
But I think if you just put a walkway right where the curbing ends and just put it right where that huge tree that needs to come down because there's, I'm a pain.
So for the walkway, one of the things that's what sort of prompted this was that there's no way to have 2 lanes of traffic end out of a walkway
Yes, there
without
is.
having.
I'm not in,
But
there is.
to dictate 2 lanes of traffic, we have to have 20 feet, 18 feet, which at the minimum, we do have 18 feet towards the top of Academy. Anything wider than that, we would have to then cut into the school property.
Right, you don't need to make a full-size sidewalk, just enough, a little.
The borough would, as far as the ADA and PRO-AG rules are concerned, they would have to add 4-foot sidewalk.
But on this one spot, there is enough for that, right where the
But
curbing
it has to
ends.
be continuous, that's the problem.
But it will be, because it's ended there, you put it right where the problem is. I really looked into this, I know I'm not an engineer, but I seriously looked into it.
But the concern is there is not enough room. But to add an extra 4 feet of width to that roadway would be a lot of grading and a lot of retaining walls along that side there, which would not make sense for
Well,
adding a sidewalk.
I don't think you have to make the retaining wall to add to your budget. I think you just make a small walkway. And it isn't gonna, because there is an extra 4 feet right there. I actually measured it.
Well, I think it is a little more complicated than certainly I understand. I'm not an engineer, and there are a lot of factors that have to, and that's why we wanted to have
Bonnie
people
said I
come.
should be an engineer.
But I appreciate you coming with your comments, I really do.
But it shouldn't be a one-way.
Thank you. This will
Really,
be,
because I'm not gonna
discussed.
get stuck in the school traffic. I don't think that that's right to do at my age.
Yeah.
I'm not well enough to just even deal with it. I'm shaking, knowing that they said a one-way. You don't know what that
That's why
is.
we're having it as a
That's
discussion.
why we're having this meeting.
Yeah.
Holy
Nothing is set in
mackerel.
stone.
Yeah.
Nothing is set in stone.
It
These are
seems
all
very,
just options.
The beginning of the discussion, just the first beginning.
yeah.
Ooh,
So
ooh.
we'll have other meetings for sure.
Yeah, because I really don't think, and I think that you don't have to go all out. Just, I think that the one side to put so that the kids could get up the street, but I never had the problem, so. And what you're saying about the vision, there's no vision problem whatsoever. I wouldn't still live here. If I had a vision problem going over the hill, you think I'd still live here? There's no vision problem. I don't think you've gone up my hill as much as I have.
Well, fair
I'm not
enough.
trying to be an
Absolutely
idiot,
not,
but
no, I'm just saying from the rules that we have to follow as far as the state and the United States are concerned.
well,
The site
have them come
distance
talk to me.
is lacking.
Have
Fair
them talk
enough.
to me.
I'll do that.
No, I mean it. I'm just like, you know that I've seen everything that went on. And I do have, when Mike Stubbe, what's his name? Stubbe. Hold on a minute.
Steinwan.
What?
Steinwan?
No, Stubbe. He was the,
Oh, okay.
A long time ago.
yeah, and there was gonna be a no parking sign in front of my house too, which I had how many, unbelievable amount. North Hunterdon Courthouse here. I actually had a number of things going on over 29 years, 28 years. But I didn't complain, do the street, do this. I did complain about the drains because it cracked my wall. That's the other thing, and I know that that's all there. My wall is cracked bad, and it will fall eventually. It pulled away from the actual foundation 2 feet because of that hole that was that sinkhole for 2 years. So I do have a problem. If it doesn't fall, it's fine, but it might need to be I guess I'll have to have it, what's that called?
Remediated.
What?
Remediated.
Well, or where they fill in with the cement. I might have to fill it, repoint it. Yeah, because it is, it's actually pulling away from, it's getting worse and worse as I look at it. And that was because of that hole. There was a garbage can in there, right? Wow, how did that get in there? How did that make it from wherever to get where it was? It was just shocking. Anyway, but that did pull my wall apart and everything else.
We're gonna have more time to discuss this, I do.
No, I know, you gotta
appreciate
move
your
on,
time.
I'm a big mouth.
Well, I wanna make sure that.
Everyone else gets the chance. But
Yes.
I don't want a one-way, I'm against it. What do you say, nay? That's why I say nay.
You got it.
All right, nay. It's nay for me.
Hi. Hello. I'm Susan. I live at 40 Taylor. I'm just coming at this as a parent of 2 children. I think the street is totally dangerous. The fact that you're repaving it's awesome. So thank you. I did write an email saying that the street concerns me. I'm a fairly healthy 40, almost 2-year-old woman, and walking up and down that street with my son in the stroller, and now he's walking, is terrifying. I walked up and down the street 3 times already between yesterday and today. We walk up and down that street all the time. I go to Scouts at least 3 times a week. We go to Circa every Friday night. We go to the liquor store. We go to High Rail. Too much. We go everywhere. We want to support this town, and I want to walk up that street, and I want a place that is designated for us to walk the entire way. And if that means that the street has to be one way, in my opinion, the inconvenience of what, a quarter mile? And if you would pardon us, if it's snowing, if we could go over the wrong way, up the one way, if that's really a concern, my main concern is the safety of my children. I walk up and down that street all the time. My boyfriend walks up and down that street all the time. 2 houses up from us, they have 2 children. Her late 60s mother walks the children to and from school every day. And as far as the limited sight distance, if you park coming down Taylor, because I did this, there was a minivan coming up this way. So I parked at the top to see what my visual would be of them, and the minivan totally disappeared, right? So that means you can't see us on the other side. That's why there needs to be a designated safe walk space. As far as going up, it is hard to see people walking on the path, and there are children that use that path to walk up the stairs to that school on a daily basis. I mean, I personally don't see people going up and down that street super fast all the time. It's not really a street that you're gonna get up speed and like go crazy down. That hasn't been my experience. But I do see people biking down that street, and it's terrifying. I cannot believe I have not seen somebody hit one of those potholes yet. It's dangerous, you guys know that, you've heard me, thank you. I think it's awesome that it's being done fairly soon. So I guess for me, my main concern is the safety of my children. Although nothing has happened, God forbid it does. So The reason I brought up making it a possible one-way and putting a pedestrian line is because I thought, man, having them take down some of this stuff here and putting in a walkway and a retaining wall sounds like it's a lot of money. And it's probably a lot to ask. So I figured a stripe might be better. For me, and my neighbors on my right side and two up on the left who aren't here, I don't know if they wrote anything or not, are in support of whatever it's gonna take to get a safe walking space for not only my children, but for me. That's it. Let's go.
And just a follow-up comment, we do intend to work with the schools. I think we already started reaching out to them, if I'm not mistaken, but
Yeah, I did reach out to Dr. Harbaugh, and he said that he would help support, whatever decision.
Yeah, there's not a ton of traffic either. It's just the safety of the
But we're also
traffic.
worried about being stuck in school traffic if we have to get out, so we
Yeah, I
can't
mean,
contradict,
school traffic.
Yeah, well,
not
they should actually go, no, we don't need a one-way. No.
Can I go next?
Yes.
Hello all, Colleen Conroy, 2 Manning Court. So as someone who works at the school, who also has been back there recently, I do love looking at it also because it's terrible. I was walking down to look at the trees that she had called the school about. And so we were walking back there just investigating that. And I, a sizable woman, and I was having difficulties walking down that because the pavement is breaking up. So it is in desperate repair. To me, that as far as the school goes, and again, Dr. Hobart and the board will have something to say about it, is that because I do stand outside every day when all the kids are dropped off, is to have them come down Thomas around Academy and Prospect and go back out to try to keep the traffic off there.
Right.
Whether or not it's a one-way or two-way, to me it makes sense to have it a one-way too, and to have some striping outside for safety, on the road. The other issue I wanted to bring up, as I am on the Environmental Commission also, is about that water. Because it is, we have the drains up at the middle school in the back of the property there, and just that, to be careful whatever way, when it is being done, is to make sure that that water is safely, being moved. Because it does, obviously, how it settles down the bottom of the hill, and rushes, and I'm sure that, like she said, she has lots of videos. But for me, it just makes sense to have a safe space that kids can walk. They obviously do walk on the commons. I very rarely go up Taylor because you can't. Why would I? Why would I? But there have been times when I've come out of the side parking or the back of the building and had to, like, a car was coming and I had no choice but to go that way because, sometimes that's tricky also. And to go up and not to be able to see is frightening to me because the kids are on the trail, and not just the kids, there's bikers and strollers and everything. I think it's frightening. I do think coming down is a better option because, and again, not because of the residents, there aren't inconvenience to anybody, but it really just comes down to safety and anything you can do to improve that road. But I just wanted to say too, just about the water to be, how that is, and the trees back there, some of them already. Some work was just done and trees were trimmed back there, but some of them, if once work starts, it's going to make them really fragile. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you have a question?
We have another.
My name is Zach. I live at 30 Church Street, on the corner of Church and Taylor. I made that walk to the school all of my life, well, all 3 years that I went to that middle school. My mom taught me to look both ways, and as a middle schooler, that's a reasonable expectation. As a 2-year-old, that is not a reasonable expectation. So for the school students, I think they have education enough, they have eyes in their heads, they can be taught how to walk on a two-way street. So my concern, my family's concern, is parking is already extremely difficult on that section of Church and Taylor. If you make that a one-way, it will eliminate eliminate's a strong word. It will eliminate access in the winter to our driveways, and we're not allowed to park on the street in the winter when it snows. So you've driven, hopefully never, up and down Taylor Street when it snows. You can't get a car out if you go toward the school down the really steep hill and up the other really steep hill. you're not gonna be able to make it around to get out if it's a one-way that way. And you're gonna have the opposite problem, you make it a one-way the other way. And I know it's just when it snows, but I live here. I'm going to live here for a long time, and this will be my everyday, oh no, it snowed, now I have to call out of work. So the other potential concern there is anybody, when I do move out, or when my family moves out, is somebody looking to buy the house is going to see that inconvenience, and it's gonna decrease the property value. So just, those two concerns for us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So clearly, some considerations.
And that's why we wanted to have this, was because us sitting in an engineering meeting discussing these things doesn't get the, I guess, opinions of everybody else in the public, especially the residents on those roads. So that was the main reason we're like, you know what, let's have a discussion about this at the next meeting. Let's go through it and start figure out a plan forward.
And we'll reconvene.
Yeah, you don't buy a house on an ocean and not feel that you possibly, that ocean's gonna do something. You don't buy a house on a lake knowing that you're not gonna flood eventually. You don't buy a house on the bottom of a hill like I did without thinking there's a possibility of something being like it is. I bought it, I knew what I was getting into, but it wasn't a big deal. I never had a problem since I've lived here. Serious. I mean, I've complained with water and stuff like, just a little bit. But I think that they were legit. The trees were falling. And we did just the person's not here, had a tree fall on my house and my neighbor's house. Which, that one tree is gonna fall across this street, it's bad. But that's all done with. That one tree, if you move that one tree or get rid of it, there's the spot for a little walkway. I do not believe that thinking of a one-way, just like Akbar said, that is just not acceptable because there are problems where you're gonna have to park going one way. It is gonna depreciate the value of the house. For sure, people don't wanna move in on a one-way. There's no reason after all these years. Where was there a problem with anybody? Have you ever had anybody complain in the history of Highbridge on that street ever? No. I've never seen it. I looked back. There has never been a complaint or an accident. So that's my opinion.
Okay.
And also, one thing is I always thought it was interesting that when you widen the street and make it easier and bigger sight lines, that generally people do go faster. So I mean, that is true. Having that weird hump where you don't know what the hell's behind it makes me slow down and stop, even if there's no stop signs. Tight, like Main Street, tight, congested places naturally do slow people down and make it safer. So I can understand that. I guess my other thing is, obviously it's the absolute beginning of talking about this. I'm guessing it's too expensive. Could we simply fill in so that it's not so like, I mean, that's a lot of, that's a lot of gravel, but, I know.
Yeah.
So, or as, I mean, I would assume that during the process, things like that, as ridiculous as it may sound, putting in fill, or doing a retaining wall, or doing it would be looked into, at least cursory, just to get a sense of the, does it triple the cost of it? Does it quadruple it? Does it add 20%? Like, I would imagine that you guys would I hope, do that at the beginning of it, just because it gives information to people as we look ahead.
We have had a discussion about,
If we can have, just hold off in terms of comments back and forth, because A, it's impossible for him to keep up, and B, we're trying to record it, and when people are talking over each other, it really doesn't record well.
Let me just interrupt you to say that this is, again, the very beginning of the conversations. We asked Patrick to come to kind of give us an overview. There's still questions I have. I'm sure there's questions that we all have.
Still questions I have. So.
Yeah, but it's good to hear this initial feedback because the second we started talking about one way, we were like, oh boy, let's just bring some people together. So, Patrick, thank you. I think we can move on from here because I think we still have more discussion to take place, and there's nothing's happening. We're not declaring any kind of one-way anything.
It is still our intention to have that road paved before the end of the year, but as far as designating it as a one-way or a two-way or anything.
Sidewalks,
That would be
striping,
a
no.
future
Can I ask one
conversation.
more question? Am I allowed?
One more.
All right. I'm sorry, I'm just like, how are you gonna go about paving it? Are you gonna lower it about 2 feet? Because the drain across the street does not get one stitch of water in it. They gave me that $75,000 drain in a meeting, how many years ago? You remember that? Do you remember that? No? Haven't you been here forever?
Right, Mark?
No, I said, well, if I could get a $75,000 drain given to me, that's what they did across the street. That drain is up too high. Just saying, because not one thing makes it in there. Not one, and I've got videos and pictures. You're gonna have to lower it. So I think you need to lower this street first.
Yeah, it's not just a repaving, it's a complete re-engineering of the streets.
See, and I was trying to
And if
say-
it was a gift, maybe.
Which is why we.
Oh, maybe I should pay for it, right? No, but I was trying to save budget by saying
Right.
certain things where, because
They're
I know.
looking at all of it.
Yeah, because I don't think you should put a sidewalk all the way, because that's ridiculous. And put a retaining wall the whole way, that's ridiculous. One catch basin, lower the street, crown it properly, and put a small walkway. No one way. I'm so against that, it makes me shake, it got me sick. I'm just gonna tell you, because I do not wanna drive around getting stuck in the wrong, it's just ridiculous, it's
Okay.
ridiculous.
Unless there are any new comments? Thank you again, Isabel.
All right.
I do appreciate it, honestly,
Okay.
I do
No,
appreciate it.
thank you so much, thank you
And,
for all you do.
I thank you, Patrick, again.
No problem. Yeah, if anybody has any questions, too, feel free.
You'll be back.
Yeah, I'm around, don't worry. Absolutely.
Okay,
You have my
introduction of
email
ordinance.
address.
We do have a number of introductions here to make tonight, so, you know, these are always my favorite reading out loud experiences. Ordinance 2021-040, amend chapter 184-2 violations and penalties. Motion to introduce.
Second.
Ordinance 2021-040 shall be published in, I'm sorry, roll call, roll call.
Columbus.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Schwartz. Yes. Strange.
Yes.
And Hughes.
Yes.
Ordinance 2021-040 shall be published in the Express Times and or the Hunterdon County Democrat, along with the public hearing date of September 9th, 2021. Ordinance 2021-041, golf equipment. Motion to introduce.
Move. Second.
Roll call.
Columbus.
Yes.
Barry. Moore.
Yes.
Schwartz. Yes. Strange.
Yes.
And Hughes.
Yes.
Ordinance 2021-041 shall be published in the Express Times and or the Hunterdon County Democrat, along with the public hearing date of September 9th, 2021. Ordinance 2021-042, granting of easement. Motion to introduce.
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Columbus.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Schwartz. Yes. Strange.
Yes.
And Hughes.
Yes.
Ordinance 2021-042 shall be published in the Express Times and or the Hunterdon County Democrat, along with the public hearing date of September 9th, 2021. Ordinance 2021-043, Solitude House. Motion to introduce.
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Columbus.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Schwartz. Yes. Strange.
Yes.
And Hughes.
Yes.
Ordinance 2021-043 shall be published in the Express Times and or the Hunterdon County Democrat, along with the public hearing date of September 9th, 2021. Ordinance 2021-044, amend Chapter 184-27, Schedule 6, trucks over certain weights excluded. Motion to introduce.
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Columbus.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Schwartz. Yes. Strange.
Yes.
And Hughes.
Yes.
Ordinance 2021-044 shall be published in the Express Times and or the Hunterdon County Democrat, along with the public hearing date of September 9th, 2021. On to the consent agenda. We have a lot of resolutions on here.
I can ask to pull 209 and 2.4 for questions.
224, this is
224, yes. 209, 224.
Anybody else?
Are we going to discuss any further the small homes?
think
That's
that's,
what I
that's
just-
209.
that's what I just said.
That's in- yeah.
Just,
Yes.
Okay, motion to approve consent agenda resolution 202 through 208, and resolution 210 through 223, and resolution 225 through 227.
Move.
second?
Roll call.
Columbus.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Strange.
A yes, except for 213, from which I abstain.
And Hughes.
Yes.
Okay, let's start with resolution 209. Steve?
I just, a resident requested that we report to discuss it briefly. I'm just gonna say that the resident raised concerns about the vehicles, and the concern that maybe tiny houses are not allowed in New Jersey, which I have no knowledge of. I don't know anything about them, to be honest, except that they're small, which I think is self-evident. Now, unfortunately, the chief, he left. I was gonna say, I'm certainly not opposed to approving it, but I think we also ought to make sure that we kind of assure the resident that we will speak to the chief and make sure that these houses can get in safely and out safely, and that all of those things are checked.
Plus, you brought up a topic that I hadn't thought of, that they would probably use generators.
And I don't think that's
But then how many hours are they there, and that's just
right.
a
I don't think those,
concern.
I don't think those would fall into the anti-idling thing, but it definitely seems like we should discuss that with the chief, and he's pretty good about finding the details on things like that and making sure that everyone can get in and out safely and all that. I think it's just worth making note of that as we think about it and vote on it.
And I also think that Christina's really great with providing us information of all the specs, so, we'll be sure to keep in contact with knowing exactly who's coming and what those specs are, and then talking to the chief.
And keep in mind, it's a show. It's not saying these homes are gonna be installed.
Yeah, they're not gonna live there afterwards.
They're just coming in and out. I think it's a pretty cool event. Sounds like it's gonna be something different for the borough, certainly in Hunterdon County, and it's definitely worth asking some follow-up questions, but I don't think it's anything we really need to be overly. My biggest concern was having a Commons versus Union Forge, but, that's another,
I'm so dedicated to Main Street.
No, I understand. It's just logistically, it works a little better at Union Forge, but, I'm open-minded, and let's see how this goes, and we have some legitimate questions to ask. When is the event again?
October 2nd and 3rd.
Anybody else have any comments? Should we vote on this first?
Well, you can vote on it if you have public safety concerns, and this is just a thought, you may want to amend the resolution just to say that any public safety concerns have been raised, to be reviewed by maybe the borough administrator in conjunction with the chief, and Chief Bonnie has to be satisfied that those safety concerns have been addressed.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
So approve.
So move to amend what I just said.
Yeah, move to approve resolution 209-2021 pending a review of any safety concerns
By the borough
administrator
and that she has to be
chief.
satisfied that they've been addressed.
Yeah, that's realistic.
And if we approve tonight, or do we have to
Yeah.
rewrite it and then?
No, you can amend the resolution right now to add that into it, and once it's amended, then you vote on the amended resolution.
Yeah. So let me get a motion to approve that resolution as amended.
You have to
First we have
vote
to
on,
amend
you
it.
have to move
I'll make a
and
motion
second the
that-
motion to amend, and then vote on the motion to
I'll
amend.
make a motion that we amend the resolution to include approval by the administrator in conjunction with the chief
Second.
Of any
Roll call.
safety issues.
of every safety issue.
We got it.
I'm sorry, I had Strange as my motion, who was my second? Hughes? All right. Columbus.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Strange.
Yes.
And Hughes.
Yes.
So now motion to approve
The
As
resolution as
amended.
amended, correct.
Motion to approve resolution 209-2021 as amended.
Move.
Second.
Roll call.
Columbus.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Strange.
Yes.
And Hughes.
Yes.
Okay, resolution 224, request for proposal. Okay, I think-
It was me. I was just curious. I mean, unless I'm mistaken, I just want to clarify. This is severing the golf course operations from the clubhouse as
No.
two separate things. Is that correct?
This is- We're going out for proposal
To
for
do
golf
that.
management.
Oh no. Okay.
Billy
I'm just
Casper's
trying to
contract.
understand.
Their 5-year contract's up, Steve.
Oh, the contract's
they have to-
just up.
They
Yeah.
have to
Okay.
put out a request for proposal
We have
For either one or
for bid
both or.
to whoever's going to manage the course for the
Did
next.
we make changes
5
to
years.
the, no, we
So-
just straight request for proposal, right? We didn't separate
No,
everything.
there is an adjustment for the bar area,
Oh,
because it was assumed that the redevelopers would be incorporating that into the redevelopment of the barn.
So this is just for the golf course.
management.
And the
Just for
pro
the.
shop.
Okay. So
And
it
the pro
does
shop.
sever. It
Doesn't
does
it
sever
leave an
the
area
golf course and
for-
pro shop from the clubhouse bar.
I believe it leaves an area open for the bar and the.
So if the
And-
new,
and,
yeah, if the new, the redevelopers do not, if that doesn't come through, and we still have the contract with, the new golf operations management company, they would then be given that option to go into the bar area as well.
We have to go out for proposal. That's our
Oh,
own
absolutely.
choice.
But-
Our
but
goal,
I just thought
I
there
mean,
was a
to be
proposal
perfectly frank,
for
we
only
are
one.
hoping that Billy Casper Troon continues on. Troon is the new
Yes, the new
organization.
name.
That's our goal. We don't have a choice but to go out for proposal, and the time is to do that now.
Yeah, they expire at the end of the year. So we need
No,
to-
okay. Once again, I'm trying to clarify. It says, whereas the bar is not part of the proposed operating maintenance and management agreement. So it's
we
not
took the
part,
motion.
it would not be part of this agreement.
As I said, though, if it turns out there's no other plan in place at the time, next year comes, and we want to still have that area open, we would.
Oh, so
include
you're
it.
asking for proposals to sever, but you might not receive any, or you might get ones that say, okay, I understand, okay, I got you, okay. I was confused. Okay, I'm back.
Any other comments, thoughts? Motion to approve resolution 224-2021. Roll call.
Columbus. Yes. Barry.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Strange.
Yes.
And Hughes.
Yes.
Okay, on to council reports. George, why don't you kick us off?
Speaking of golf, right?
Speaking of golf.
We met on the 19th, that's the last time we met, third Monday of the month. Waiting for the redevelopment plan. She said we've been looking forward to reviewing that and hearing about it, so, or more about it. The control panel, the pump station's not installed yet. Now we're waiting for a stretch of days to avoid burning or killing of the greens and the fairways. So as soon as we get some cooler weather, that should be done. DPW going back for the asphalt repairs by the end of the summer. Some new sand was added to several bunkers. A couple events took place. The Cooler Invitational on July 28th, great success. Raised roughly $9,000 for the Memorial Fund. The world's largest golf outing returned August 2nd and raised about $4,000 for the veterans and the families of veterans through the Fisher House Foundation. July numbers, rounds were up, 455 the budget, revenue up, 3,549 the budget. Total expenses were over 6,386 the budget. 11 days into August, we're running close to budget despite some hot days and thunderstorms. Year to date, we're up. Year to date rounds are up. 2,701 the budget. Revenues up. $192,294 the budget. Expenses are over 2,076 the budget. EBITDA is about 190,218 the budget. A couple events coming up. September 10th. Oh, we have the Club Championship, August 28th and August 29th. September 4th and 5th, third annual Ryder Cup match between Highbridge Hills and Heron Glen. September 10th, the annual Fire Department golf outing. It's a local fundraiser. Nearly sold out. 9 a.m. shotgun. You want to get involved? Limited slots left. And mark the calendars for September 24th, Residents Appreciation Day. Residents can enjoy free entry into a 3 p.m. 9-hole scramble tournament. Have a shot to win $10,000 cash for one prize. Fun contests and prizes are also included. Reservations are required for golf. There's a free barbecue to be served from 5:30 to 7:30. Barbecue will be open to all Borough residents and will feature an award presentation for golf and live music from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. And on October 1st, Califon Fire Department golf outing takes place, and that event is also nearly sold out. So we'll have the golf.
Okay, the historical committee updates for July and August. Our most exciting news to announce is the award of the Hunterdon County Preservation Grant awarded to the Historical Committee for the repair of the west side porch on the Solitude House. The grant total is $44,500 for historical rebuilding of the porch. The committee is working with historic preservation specialists on the application to have Solitude House on the National Register of Historic Places. A grant for completion of this application was awarded last year, and work on the application and research continues. The committee hosted its first luncheon at Solitude House to thank our borough employees, the police department and DPW on July 7th. It was a lovely afternoon and a joy to have Solitude House open for an event. Committee members conducted the first Solitude House yard sale on Saturday, July 10th, with the items found in the house that would not be used. Thank you to all who came out to support this event. Volunteers and committee members have completed the painting of the first floor at Solitude House. Thank you to all who volunteered to help, and anyone interested in volunteering for a project with the Historical Committee, please email history@highbridge.org. Work continues in our archival space and the development of Solitude Library. The library will contain information on the archival items that the committee currently has and additional research material. The library will be open soon to the public. Updates are being added regularly on our committee Facebook page, Highbridge History. Committee Facebook administrator is currently working on a series of postings for notable people associated with Highbridge history. On July 30th, the Solitude House hosted a very special guest, Louis H. Taylor's fourth-time great-granddaughter. She's from Massachusetts, brought over never-seen-before photos of Solitude House and the Taylor family. A Taylor Bible and journals and Taylor family genealogy book written in 1909. This visit and the information that was generously shared with the committee will aid in our research of the family for the registry nomination and shed light on missing information on the Taylor family history. The committee had its first jazz brunch at Solitude House on August 1st. The event was a large success. Thank you to all the vendors who donated food to the brunch. Hilltop Deli, Scouts Coffee Shop, Polka Dot Cafe, Circa, and The Forge. Thank you to all who attended the brunch and enjoyed our tour of Solitude's first floor. Monies raised will be used for repair on the Solitude property. And I'd like to thank all of the volunteers who attended, Chief Bartman for arranging us to get a golf cart over there so we could shuttle people from the Little Custom Alloy parking lot to the house. And just the energy was just truly amazing. And it was a really awesome community event. Really great seeing everybody come together, put all differences aside, and work towards something super positive in this town. The committee also produced updated informational brochures for the Annex Building and Solitude House, and brochures which describe the recent renovations at Solitude House. September 18th, the Historical Committee will be hosting an outdoor market on the grounds at the Tisco Complex. Check our Facebook page for updated information. And the Historical Committee continues its collaboration efforts with the Environmental Commission, Green Team, and Creative Committee to begin work on the grounds at the Tisco building. Planning has been segmented into 3 phases to be completed over the next 18 months to create Tisco grounds for art. Artwork and sculptures will be produced by the community, and existing historic artifacts will be displayed on the property. Phase 1 of the project is set to take place by the end of August. Also, plans have begun for the Dogs of Highbridge 2022 calendar. Thank you to the volunteers who are organizing this event and putting the calendar together. Proceeds from the sale of the calendar will be used for repairs on Solitude property. We are hopeful to have the calendars for sale by mid-October. The committee is working on hosting murder mystery parties at Solitude House beginning late September or early October. So be on the lookout for more details on that. And then moving on to the events committee, the Dave Allen Band is scheduled for this Sunday from 3 to 7. And it was scheduled on Sunday as to not conflict with the Highbridge Fire Department's first annual music fest the day before. Soapbox Derby is taking place on September 4th, and a very special thank you to Jamie Taylor for saving Soapbox Derby and bringing it back. Thank you, Jamie, and to all those who donated money. She has raised $4,650 in the last couple weeks. Truly amazing. We hope that she does come back and do this every year for us. It's just unbelievable. So currently we have 16 racers, and there's still time to register. So check out the Borough webpage at the events tab for registration info and event details. And that wraps up what I have.
How many racers in the last
I think we've had up to 28 in the past. We can have, I think it's about 30. Others in the room might know more historical information on that, but yeah, we could definitely use more racers. So there's definitely time to sign up.
Councilwoman Moore, Finance.
All right, exciting topic. All right, the tax bills were mailed on July 14th, which covers the third and fourth quarter of 2021 and the first half of 2022. Utility bills were mailed out on July 27th, so if you didn't receive yours, just call Borough Hall and let them know. If you would like to pay your utility bill or your tax bill online on the Borough website, there is no convenience fee if you pay by electronic check. But that's not your debit card, it's only electronic check. So if you want to pay by debit card, there will be a fee. So the annual audit report was completed and will be submitted to the state after tonight, because that was accepted by council this evening, so thank you everyone for that. And we received the first half of our American Rescue Plan funding, and are working with the borough engineers to put together a spending plan for infrastructure projects, one of which we talked about in detail tonight. So this is good news, since infrastructure has been on a lot of people's minds, and there will be ongoing discussions on that one. And that was it.
Great, thanks, Leanne.
I'd like to start off with the DPW report. And actually, before the report, the borough would like to send a farewell to Scott Hamill, a member of our DPW family. His last day is tomorrow, as he and his family are relocating to South Carolina. Scott started working with the borough in January of 2014, 7 years ago. And since then, Scott has been a dedicated member of our DPW. DPW and Highbridge will miss Scott for all of his leadership, his friendship, and being a role model. We wish him and his family the best of luck, happiness in his new beginnings. Thank you, Scott.
Friend of the EC for sure.
Absolutely.
Under the regular business for the DPW, they're continuing to install new water meters. Citizens of Highbridge, if you haven't had your water meter replaced yet, please call up the DPW, make an appointment. All of the water meters in town are being replaced with new ones that can be read more easily and record the water meter readings more easily as well. The DPW had their trucks annual servicing over the last month. They've been working on clearing some severely clogged storm sewers up in Solitude Village. Been doing manhole inspections, flushing fire hydrants, and they're currently working on repairing the walking bridge behind the Tisco building. They're also rebuilding catch basins in Solitude Village. As far as the engineering report goes, we met with the borough engineer, as I said before, on August 5th. Our primary subject of discussion was the Bunvale Road Pumping Station project. It's a sizable project, probably coming up next year. We just voted on the acceptance of their design and engineering estimate, Collier's Engineering's design and engineering estimate tonight for that project. It's essentially replacing the entire Bunvale Road pumping station. Pumps, electrical, there's a clear well. And this is not a project that could be put off. This is something that needs to happen in the next year or so. We also discussed the scope of the Highland sewer improvements and road paving, and the inclusion of obviously Prospect and Taylor Street as part of that scope of work. We also discussed getting the Dewey Avenue area, the former Catton's-Ready property, ready for receiving leaves in the fall. Hopefully we can get that done. We also had a separate meeting with our Safe Routes for Schools engineer, the kickoff for that project. We had that meeting yesterday. It is going to be something of a long time frame to get this project going. The design will not likely be done for another 15 or 16 months. And we're talking about construction possibly in spring of 2023.
Why is that so long, did they say?
It involves the federal government. that really is the
yeah,
case.
yeah.
And that's about it.
Thank you. Councilman Strange? Before you go, I just want to agree with Christina. These are awesome. I know we've talked about this many times in EDC and over. These are great. Do you have them for all the Hubbard stores?
She asked me to do it, so I made her one. It's set up to print at 11 by 17 in color, but then you can also do visits.
Good job.
I think I shared it with you, but I certainly can pop it up and share with everybody.
I think it's great.
You, Mr. Collins, you are on top of it.
Oh, you sound like a teacher.
Maybe you should put it on the website.
But you have two columns.
I was gonna say, there's,
Yeah.
So people can download it.
Yeah.
I was just saying that the federal rules about that thing are what, 20 some odd pages just for that. Anyway, for the submissions. Okay. Asked her to hand out. Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, well, I'll be brief here. The police department, a slight reduction in calls this past month, July, 135 motor vehicle stops. It was wonderful having the award there for the honorary officer as well as the new officer that we hired. Kind of a nice reminder that that's what they're doing. They're out there watching out for all of us and all the time. That's just their thing. Anyway, so thank you to them. For fire department, July 30 incidents, 2 firematic drills and 2 work details, and they staffed the North Hunterdon Mutual Aid station July 24th. 358.5, I put 5.5, it's probably 547 man hours. I don't know how they calculate that. And I just want to say that their music fest is, what is it, day after tomorrow? The first music fest, 3 to 9, $5 tickets online or at the gate. And please support the fire department. Hopefully this will be very successful. We'll shift from the fireman's picnic, a little bit different. And then also, of course, we mentioned everybody mentioned both of my things there. But anyway, September 10th golf outing, as George said, is a fundraiser for the fire department as well. So if you got to do it soon because they're almost sold out. But if you want to support the fire department and play golf at the same time, get your tickets now. For EDC, we have kind of been finalizing the idea of having information to give to new businesses and new residents, kind of 2 separate things. As people come into town, kind of a card that says, here's where you go to get the information you need in town. I would think they'd know to go to highbridge.org, but to remind them of that and also give them other hints about other things. We're hoping to have something like that in the newsletter and maybe once a year in the newsletter, as well as other venues to get the information to people. We're also looking into having some of the EDC members attend an events committee meeting to understand how they communicate and engage with businesses, and to try to increase that communication between the businesses and the various committees. In terms of businesses, Forge Tavern's off to a great start. I think we've all seen, very nice. And recently I've put people in contact with each other. Trek Bike Summit, I don't know how they put the order that is, Trek Bike Shopping Summit, whatever, I don't know what their name is exactly, but they might be interested in working with the owner of the property at the corner of the Columbia Trail, I think it's 77 Main Street, I think is the address, as they are thinking about maybe having a bike shop on the first floor. Maybe there'd be some coordination there working together. So hopefully that'll help the person who owns the property and also Trek Bike and Summit. Last but not least, the what do you call it? The QR code posters have been slowly increasing in traffic, and people are beginning to realize, oh, hey, there's a poster there. The peak of all the traffic, August 1st at Solitude House, because there were a lot of people there. Oh, what's this? But as there are events, people are noticing them and trying to get more information. And so that's one of the things the EDC is trying to work on. Like, now look at which ones are helping people the most, get rid of the ones no one wants to look at, and find ways to get people to notice them more, so that people can find their way around town and find more information when and where it's useful. So I think that is it. Yes. Okay, I'm done.
Just a couple reminders from the county that they have an electronics waste recycling on August 28th. So if you missed our electronics event, you can get in the line in the county for theirs. Also, document shredding, if you missed ours, there's one for the county, September 18th. You can go to the county website for more details on both of those. Our document shredding that we had over 5,000 pounds of paper shredded, so thank you to the almost 100 people who came through to do that with us. The county transfer station on Petticoat Lane offers clean drop-off for recycling also, Monday through Friday, and bulk waste drop-off for a fee on Saturdays from 10:30 to 1. Some people forget that that's there, and that's an option if you have more bulk items that you want to put out, and we're only allowing one bulk item per trash cycle. You always have the transfer station, just to keep that in mind. The Green Team won back, I guess, July, we didn't give a report, our $20,000 grant from PSE&G for Sustainable Jersey. It's a non-matching grant, and it's for something we've been working on and submitting for this grant for a long time, to get a connecting path from the Commons parking lot down behind Old Borough Hall to Main Street. So this is the first phase of it for $20,000. There's a lot more we need to do for it, but if we do well on the first 20, we can apply for a continuation of that grant. And I'd like to thank Carol Mowry, a resident that is very environmentally minded, and she's always sending me information about things. But this time she offered a ring barrel that she had purchased and wasn't going to use, a brand new one, and wanted to know if the borough could use it somewhere. And I thought about Solitude House, and Natalie scooped it right up. So thank you, Carol Mowry, for your donation.
Just a quick question before you go. Do we have any update on 77 Main?
77 Main has submitted their planning board application and their demolition permit.
Excellent.
So they should probably be on the planning board agenda for October.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So I'm going to piggyback on some of what Councilman Schwartz had mentioned about our Safe Routes to School kickoff meeting. We will be including the public in that as well, so you will have an opportunity to come in and see the plans and comment on what the design work is for that one, if not two meetings. And we're hoping that will take place the beginning of next year, probably January or February. So you'll be notified of that. Also, as far as the Natural Recycling Center, I did submit notification to the county that we are planning on moving to the new site on Dewey Avenue, and we hope, we'll have a temporary setup at least for fall leaf brush pickup. October 14th is actually the deadline for phase 2 if we want to apply for another Safe Routes to School grant. So we will be looking for some input on what other sites we might want to consider for that. We also had a meeting with the state fire safety officials today regarding Highbridge becoming the lead agency now for the life hazard and non-life hazard inspections. Next week, we'll be meeting with our construction permit vendor to discuss some recent changes to the law that will now allow for the uploading of electronic permits via the website. Requests are now out for the fall newsletters, so that's set to go out in late September. And this is on a sad note, there was a fire of the playground manufacturer's facility earlier this summer. So unfortunately, as you know, the playground equipment has still not been installed, and I'm sorry about that. I wish I could do something, but our contractor said as soon as that gets shipped, he's ready to come in and install it. So hopefully before the end of the summer, but I don't know. And you might notice we're actually a third of the way through now with the air conditioning replacement here at the firehouse. So it's not the best, but we thought we were getting 2 this week. We only ended up getting 1, and we're getting another one next week, and then the third one to follow. So by October, we should be in shape. That's it.
I don't have very many updates. One, I do want to thank Natalie for your leadership on the historical committee and the other volunteers that we have on your successful grant application. Just tremendous.
We have an amazing team.
We do. So we have the best volunteers.
It's a joint
We
effort.
really do. And I'm sorry that I missed the event. I was on vacation. I really wanted to be there. I heard it was wildly successful, and I'm excited for that. The only other announcement I have is that I was unable to attend the most recent Raritan Valley Mayor's Alliance to discuss the train between Highbridge and New York City, essentially. We're part of a group there of mayors all along the Raritan Valley Railroad. But I sent Bonnie, thankfully, and she had a meeting with mayors all across the Raritan Valley line, including Congressman Malinowski and the Department of Transportation Secretary Buttigieg. Hope I pronounced that correct. So we at least got the word out that Highbridge is looking for more trains, more weekend service. We're here, we're not going away, and now that these projects are back on the front burner, on the federal side, we can really start making our voices heard on the local side. So that was pretty exciting. Thank you for going with that one. And that's all I have. Okay. Second round of public comments, 5 minutes per person.
Just a couple of comments. We can't hear in the background. We can't, once the air goes on, we can't hear you.
Can you say it again?
Oh, Isabel Silvestri, Written Terrace. This is on.
Yes.
Okay. So maybe we need an additional microphone, because it's really, if you're not in the first row, we can't hear back there. It's really hard to hear. Okay, today I got an email, George, from Josh Shafi. He's like the assistant golf professional at Pebble Shields. They're gonna start a women's league again.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so remember we talked about that on the golf committee? So it's gonna start on August 26th and run through September 30th this year, obviously, we're kind of running out of time. The first tee does $20 per person, 19 for Pebble residents. The first shotgun is $5.15. And then you just show up, 4:45, 5 o'clock, and they'll pair you up with a foursome and send you out, and how many people show up that day. But
What time again? I'm sorry. What time?
Yeah. So 5:15 is the first shotgun, so get there between 4:45 and 5, the latest. Josh Shafi?
I'm not
Somehow,
familiar with that.
I got my email.
That's great, though. I know we went out the last meeting.
Yeah, right, so I was upset, right, that they took it away, but nobody was interested. But there is an 18-hole women's league on Thursdays, but it's early, it's like 2:30 in the afternoon or 1:30 in the afternoon, so obviously not many of us can play. And then they're gonna do it, if there's an interest, then they'll do it again next year, the next season, and have a full season. So.
Well done.
Thank you.
What's the shotgun?
Everyone starts on a different hole, so everyone starts.
Oh, they start all at different holes and go in a circle.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's
I'm an expert.
out there for.
I did a lot of raking and mowing on the golf course, but that's it.
So unfortunately, on this one, it's not that
Oh,
shotgun.
see?
No.
I shouldn't have been.
It won't be that shotgun. It'll be 5:15 will be the first tee time. So 4 people go out at 5:15, 4 people go out at 5:30 or 5:25. Every 10 minutes, they'll send out a foursome until
Full 18 holes?
No, 9.
nine.
It's only 9, and they'll switch between the front and the back 9.
Gotcha.
Every week there'll be a different. Hopefully, if they can do it, it'll be a different back 9. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Isabel.
Good.
Comments and any work. So I just want to reiterate, whether it's short, say what, now, what about Natalie and the Historical Committee. I did go to the open house, and they brought that house back to life. I applaud you, and I know Mark is here, and all the other very passionate committee that you have, and the volunteers, and what they have done. I mean, I visited that house many times over the years, and it just from the small touches, and I did some, that the flowers and candles and set it the way it should be, and the grant, obviously, huge congrats to that. So I'm happy to see that happening, and I'm happy that at some point our school children will be able to go there and tour the house and have our own little walking, we like our walking tours, so to do that. The other thing I wanted to bring up about when you talk about money coming in, and I know there's road improvements and things. The other day I was there with the engineer for the project at the Commons, and we met with Bonnie and Liam and myself to discuss, that walkway and DPW for the complication. So it's work, but there's a lot more work to be done, and we're going to need to make sure we do a good job on the phase 1 so that we can go back for phase 2. But I was wondering if any of the money, obviously roads are the first thing, and water, but those are pretty important. But if there's any way for money at the Commons, and I do know that 77 Main work is being done there, but those trees I believe are on the Borough property. Again, I sent you information about the sign and things we could do there, but that whole space when you enter really needs some love. So if there's any money or any way or fundraiser ideas that we would come up with to kind of kick that off, to really make that shine. While we were there meeting, after I left Bonnie, a couple of gentlemen came up, very nice senior, and he was an iron worker, and he was fascinated with the line going through there. And he was like, well, what are you guys thinking about? And we talked about plants, we talked about a million different things, but he said he does know people that have cabooses, and wouldn't that be cool if we had a caboose on that line as another piece of history. And I did tell them to contact you, and they were like the actress, and I said, well, okay, or the mayor, but they had a lot of
Contact the actress.
Yeah.
See where that goes. Maybe she's got some money.
You never know. But they had a lot of historical information about the lines that did work here when the bridge was up and everything. So I did tell them to contact Borough Hall so that they could donate up some about the Solitude House. But I just really, what the job that they've done at Solitude House, so they really deserve a huge round of applause. It's amazing. That was all that towards the Commons.
Yeah.
Because I know we're going to do Cisco too, but if we could get some in the Commons.
So we're still waiting on, we submitted a grant,
Yes.
what I think was a great application
Yeah.
for, 200 or 250,000? Whatever it is.
Yeah.
From the state. Every day,
Yeah.
I have a little altar set up in my house. I'm so hopeful because we did just get the one from the EC, Sustainable Jersey. Now we got this other one. I feel like we're on the map a little bit with the state, and I think that we have a really good shot, but I don't want to, apparently we got a ton of
But there's some
applications.
things, we walked back in the back of the property
Yeah.
and stuff, and we talked, so just some simple things that would make a huge impact.
Yes,
And
I
just
agree.
to start there, but obviously we'll go back for phase 2, to keep it going, but it's a lot of work, so anyway, thank you.
Thanks, Colin.
Christina Boyle, 76 Main Street. So in the the engineer is here, I would like to say that the drain that was installed from the Columbia Trail does nothing to
Not doing anything there.
control the water that comes down Main Street and turns onto Center. So, just for future reference. Stephen and EDC, I work directly with Kevin at number 77 Main Street and have given him someone for the first floor. So, send people to me and we'll work quickly that way.
Okay.
Mayor, you might like to know, since you were out of town on vacation, that he came in and he cleared the entire property at the back and it's all leveled and disconnected his sewer line, so he's ready to go. I'm sorry to hear that it's gonna take till October for the planning board application, but, things are moving along there from his end. He's just waiting for the formalities, so.
Thank you, I haven't made it back there yet.
So that's the update. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mary Strange from the Southern Highland Avenue. I know it's been said, but I have to commend Natalie. I am painfully aware of what she started with, so she's done amazing things, so thank you. And two, I just want to thank the council for building Jim and the dam. I'm so excited to get back to normal and work with the town again. We had a great time the first time. Thank you.
Sorry, I missed that,
Can you state your name?
Oh, Mark Zara, 21 Terrace. Long past my bedtime still. I missed that act of vengeance during my first public comments. My daughter assists the Easter bunnies every year, and I guess because I spoke up, I guess that's constrict. So, but that was a nice conversation, nice discussion we had about Taylor. That's what you think should be, right? Too bad there weren't any other important things we could have discussed here, and we could have brought people up.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
This is your grand, 84 West Main, what the heck, I don't remember where I live. A lot of people have talked about
Can you try not to touch the microphone?
Sure.
Thank you.
A lot of people have talked about the Solitude House and how amazing that was, and I was there August 1st, that was. But it was amazing because I remember in the beginning when you brought me there, and I was kind of like, whoa, on this couch. I'm like, why did you bring me here? I have allergies. But then, I came again one other time. I almost went upstairs, but for some reason we couldn't. And then I came to your event. And it was amazing because it was interesting because it was raining and it was dreary outside, but it only made the inside of that house more bright and amazing. The chandelier was functioning. I was walking through it and I was like, this is like a White House tour. We're like, we're walking, and we stop. This is a room where George Washington was walking, and I'm just like, you made something that was like dead alive, and you're not finished. So I just wanted to tell you that was an amazing. I remember I was sitting on the porch with you, and I was like, for heaven's sake, I'm really happy and excited to be here. Like, this is crazy.
It was a team effort.
It was you and Kelly, yes, I
Amazing
agree, 100%.
Yeah.
And, but you're the one that dragged me there, and then I started coming on my own accord. And I was just really proud of you, how you've taken this thing and made it yours, and now it's hybrid. And it's great, it's amazing. I'm actually going to Hyde Park tomorrow, FDR. And I'm like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, people will come to hybrids to see Solid. Because, I'm not gonna say because of you, but I'm saying obviously they're a huge part of that. I mean, that was just an amazing experience that day. So I just want to thank you for that. I've been trying, like, I say the right thing. I kind of make sure I encompass the emotion I had that day because it was really amazing. And I saw it, again, be gray and dreary and dull to this alive building. Touch the mic. Alive building that is just crazy amazing. And it's just, again, you're not done. So that's amazing. I feel like I'm talking only to you. I apologize.
We look forward to many more amazing days
great experience. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I just have a question. What do we do with shredding?
You gotta come up to the microphone.
Isabel Gazelle. What do we do with shredded paper? When you shred a whole bunch of paper?
It has to go in the garbage. You can't recycle shredded paper.
Wow.
It jams their machines, they do not want it.
Even if it's in a
I
plastic
actually was
bag?
talking to him today on the phone this morning, so.
So you, if shredded paper that's in a bag, that goes into the bag, you can't, can you bring it to the recycle place?
Call the county transfer, I don't know, but LMR does not want it.
And then also the batteries. I've been saving batteries. I got a big, huge.
Years ago.
I know they
we
did.
did it, and then the state decided they were hazardous material to travel on the road because they have a little energy in them, and they would jockey around and spark something, catch something on fire, and so now you just throw them away.
That's terrible.
See the
Wow,
state
I
about
have
that.
a whole big, well, you know what, I did run into somebody that said that they take the batteries. So I'll call this guy up, he takes them
You
somewhere.
can, there's some place where you can wrap them individually in plastic wrap and then do something, but.
Oh, because I have a big bucket loaded with batteries. I
Just
can
little disposable batteries?
Yeah,
or
it's
cells?
disposable.
So I think you can
Like A's
recycle
and
car
things.
batteries, there's a lot of lead and stuff
Yeah,
in there,
right.
but I don't, yeah, the little ones I
So
know.
there's nothing that anybody does in Hunterdon?
No, we used to collect them and now
Okay.
we have no place to
All
get
right,
rid
I
of
guess
them.
I'll go with it.
Snap takes car batteries, I think.
Yeah, but not car batteries, it's just the little NiCads or whatever you call them. Not NiCads, or the other batteries. Okay.
Any other comments from the public?
Nothing to report on tonight, Mayor.
Thank you so much, Barry. Communications.
We have the Tax and Finance monthly reports, the July zoning report, we have Elizabethtown Gas Company notice of public hearings, government energy aggregation submittals are in there, and the final payment letters of Washington Avenue River Road.
And just to follow up with Bonnie, the audit is on the website, it's on supporting documents. Things are headed in the right direction in Highbridge, and if you're into those kind of reports, it's really good reading, so. Approval of the bills. Oh, sorry, bill list.
$1,459,379.61.
Motion to approve the bill list.
Move.
We did both? Second, roll call.
Columbus.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Strange.
Yes.
And Hughes.
Yes.
There's no more business. Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Roll call.
Columbus.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Schwartz.
Yes.
Strange.
Yes.
And Hughes.
Yes.
Great, next council meeting, September 9th, right here in the firehouse. We're keeping in-person meetings as long as we can, just so everyone is aware of that. Masks are optional. We're asking for personal responsibility here. If you're not feeling well, please stay home. September 9th, 7:30 right here.
Unless you can't see yourself.
See you then.
Unless you can't see yourself.